Hi everyone, and welcome to our live Q&A for future postgraduate students. I'm Kyle from External Relations here at the University of Glasgow, and I am delighted to welcome you to this live session. I know that we've got people tuning in from right across the world, all over the globe, so it's amazing to have you all with us today. Over the next hour, we really just want to give you a full 360 of the university, really, and cover as many topics as we can. And importantly, we want to get your questions answered as we go. So we've got a great panel with us today, and we've also got colleagues answering your questions in the chat as well. So hopefully we can cover as many areas as possible and keep the questions coming in as well. As I mentioned, I am joined today by an excellent panel of both students and colleagues from across the university. So I'm just going to let them introduce themselves. So first off, we've got Ruby.
Hello everyone, I'm Ruby. I'm currently doing my research masters in chemistry and I'm from East England.
And Katrina.
Hi there everyone, my name's Katrina Gardner and I'm based in the career service within the university. I'm one of the careers managers who supports you to help you move on in your career when you finish.
Amazing. We are also hoping to be joined by Victor today. He is a PhD student from Brazil who's studying music with us at Glasgow and has actually been with us a good wee while in Glasgow as he studied his masters with us as well. So we're hoping that he'll be able to jump on and join us for a few of the questions later on too. But without further ado, we really just wanted to get started. And the first thing that I wanted to kick off with was that we've received a lot of questions about how to apply for a postgraduate course here at Glasgow. So I was just going to run through how you actually go about applying to us. And the answer to that is it's really simple. All of our master's courses have their own programme page on our website. From there, you can find out more about your course. You can read about the fees and funding available, but it's also from that page that you can apply. So find the programme page on our website, scroll right to the bottom of that page, and there's a big box that says apply now. So it really couldn't be simpler to make an application to us at the university. Once you hit apply now, it opens up a portal that'll allow you to fill in your details and upload the relevant documents. And if there's any questions that come off the back of that, our admissions team will let you know. If any of you on the session today are interested in studying a PhD or a doctorate programme, yet again, our programme pages are still the best place to have a look. But it's important that if you are looking to apply for a PhD with us, that you should identify a potential supervisor before making that application. So we have a search function on our website that lets you filter our research staff and the staff by research interests. And that really should be the first port of call if you're looking to make a PhD application to us. After you've reached out to an academic and got them kind of championing your application, then you can go on and make that formal application. So really, in terms of how to make an application, it's all online, it's all on our website, so just go and have a look there. And you'll see that we've got links that are running along the page today, and they should be clickable too, so you can get on and have a look at any of the links that are scrolling along the bottom of our faces on the bottom of the screen today as well. So, without further ado, I am going to turn to the panel, and the first question I'm going to ask today is to Ruby. Obviously, moving to Glasgow and coming to do your Masters, Ruby, was a big step. Did you feel supported by the university when you arrived here in Glasgow?
So absolutely, yes, I did. When I first came to Glasgow, I wasn't really sure what to expect. Having done my undergrad somewhere else completely different, I wasn't sure how much support there was going to be for postgrads, but it was really fantastic. I was able to kind of go to Freshers Week right as I started, get a look at all the different societies and things like that. But specifically kind of within the Department of Chemistry, I was really surprised at all the support available, where the first week I was there, we had induction week where they held all different social events and kind of networking events like that to give everyone a chance to kind of meet all the people you'd be working with in your field, which specifically for kind of research programs is really, really helpful and important. So in that sense, I came to Glasgow and I felt like I had this foundation of knowing people and networking, which really set me up well, I think, to do my course.
Fab. To be fair, we're getting a fair few questions from international students today as well, and we're hoping that Victor will be able to join us on the call and we can ask him about the international student experience as well. But I just thought I'd jump in and mention some of the international student support that we've got on campus as well. As Ruby said, all the way across your time at Glasgow, we try to make you feel as supported as possible. So that's from application all the way through to joining us during your studies. But to help our international students, we do have a dedicated international student support team as well. We know that a big move, wherever you're coming from in the world, coming to Glasgow is going to be a big move. So you might have questions around visas, how to get a job in the UK as an international student, even if you are allowed a job in the UK. Also bank accounts and kind of just finding your feet in Glasgow. So our international student support team are on hand. They're there to help any questions as an international student. And they also run an international orientation as well. So we've got support for all of our students out there, but I just wanted to highlight that we have an international student support team for all of you who are coming from just that slightly further afield. I'm going to pull in Katrina now. Do you want to tell us just a little bit of an overview about the career service and the support that you can provide to students throughout their degree, I suppose?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, we're here to help you while you're here in Glasgow and also for 2 years afterwards, which is good to know because careers can take a while sometimes to get going. And so you've got that support to help you and just to build your confidence and to support you so that you know what you're doing. So we are here to help you make a transition into a successful career after you leave. And that can be about deciding what you want to do and getting support and exploring the options and just getting guidance on that. But it can also be about understanding the labour market. It also is a lot about how you find opportunities and applying for jobs and interviews and assessment centres and to get feedback and all of that sort of stuff. That's a big part of what we do. So anything that's kind of careers related, we probably cover. Okay. If it's kind of something more like visas, then it will obviously be over with international student support team. But we're likely to cover any needs that you have. And we do that in different ways. So we have like masterclasses, online masterclasses that we offer. We do a lot of in-course provision. So coming in to see you and doing careers education workshops within your actual course. So if that's PGTs, you'll have a link careers manager who will come in and do different activities with you that's agreed with your course conveners. I work with the PhD students. So I run courses for PhDs via the 4 graduate schools. In fact, I just did one this morning with the PhDs in MVLS and just provide the support that's specific for your area, so more related to the jobs that you might want to apply to. We also have online courses on our website that you can access and lots of events. And for example, today we're running a fair on the third sector, like charities and social enterprises, things like that. We do those throughout the year and a lot of single events that we run with different employers. So there's a lot of employers coming onto campus and there's a lot of online stuff as well that we offer. So a good chance to do some networking and meet people and find out about different areas of work in the UK. Obviously, as well, we offer vacancies. So we have a portal where you can find vacancies, and I'll talk a wee bit more about the part-time ones in a minute. But that also includes graduate jobs and graduate schemes. So whatever sector you're looking to move into, whatever jobs, that's a good place to start. We do have a portal that's where you'll find the vacancies and also book one-to-ones and masterclasses and all of that. That you can only actually access once you're here and matriculated, but that will be added automatically, so you don't have to worry about that. In the meantime, you can have a look at, you can see at the bottom, Glasgow Careers. You can have a look on our website. We've got lots of information there. And you might want to start looking soon, because actually, if you're going to do a master's programme, which is 1 year, you might find that you're actually applying for jobs as soon as you get here, because if it's in a graduate scheme, they're open the autumn, the year before they start. So for jobs starting in autumn 24, they'll be open this autumn. And so, yeah, it might already be open before you even come to the UK, if you're coming from overseas. So you want to start researching, make sure you have got an idea as to what you're going to do. And you can use the rest of the website, our career service website, is open access with lots of information and resources and sources of information elsewhere that you can use. Okay, so basically start as soon as possible so you've got an idea. If you're not applying for graduate schemes, obviously you don't have to be so quick off the mark, but still you want to know what you're doing so that you don't waste any time.
Fab. Thank you very much, Katrina. And I'm right in saying that it's really easy to find our career centre on campus. You're right in the centre of the campus in the Fraser building, am I right?
We're actually not that visible though, unfortunately.
There you go.
So you can't really see us, but actually what you'll find is online as well. So, you know, we're on different platforms, and the masterclasses, we run a couple every week. So you'll be able to get in contact with us quite easily and see us and meet us.
Fab, that's great. We have been joined by Victor. I'm going to jump over to Victor. I know you've just jumped onto the call, but I'm going to ask: do you want to tell everyone what you're studying, what you have studied here at Glasgow, and where you're from as well, Victor?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me. And well, so hi everyone. My name is Victor. I am from Brazil, from São Paulo, Brazil, and I'm actually doing my second master's degree in a row. So I initially came to Glasgow to do a top master's in music industries. And right after that, I joined a research master's in a program called Creativity, Inclusivity, and the Virtual, which is within the College of Arts. So it's open to all arts students to apply. And my current research topic are music events within online video games. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now, and also hopefully I'll be doing a PhD soon on that same overall topic. So that's it.
Amazing. No, well, thank you very much for joining. I'm actually going to stick with you for a minute, Victor.
Okay.
I very quickly mentioned the international student support that we have at the university just before you joined the call. I just wanted to hear what it was like as an international student coming to join us in Glasgow and coming to Scotland for the first time. Were you supported? Did you feel supported?
Yes, very, very much. Even before I came to Glasgow, because I remember that I applied super early to join the University of Glasgow in 2021. I applied, I think, in October 2020, so almost a year in advance. And over that year, between getting my offer and actually coming to the university, I had a lot of support from the university, specifically with Joe Power, which I think she joined us in one of our recent Q&As. She's the student support for students from Latin America, and so she was a great point of contact. You know, so she was always there to help me, you know, understand how it was going to be, you know, for me as a Latin American student coming to Glasgow and joining the university. And then, well, once I got to the university, just being in this environment, then you know, you actually get support from all over the place. You know, you're able to get support from your classmates, from the teachers and everything. And well, just everybody here at the University of Glasgow and Glasgow as a whole tends to be super friendly. So yeah, so that just means that you have a huge network of support all the time. So that's a great thing.
Fab. You made a really good point in highlighting our international recruitment team. We have regional teams spread across the world. So if you do have any questions, there tends to be people who are dedicated to your region or your area of the world that you can get in touch with. And the international website, the web page for international students, is really easy to find on our website. So you can hunt out our international pages if you are an international student looking to come to Glasgow. Right, I'm moving tack now. I'm moving actually slightly closer to home, and I'm going to go back to Ruby because we're going to look at where you live here in Glasgow. Was it easy enough to find accommodation in Glasgow? Where are you living? Are you living in university accommodation? Yeah, do you want to just tell us a bit about how you found finding accommodation?
Yeah, so I'm living in private accommodation in Glasgow because this was my kind of postgrad degree. After doing my undergraduate, I lived in student halls, so I thought I did want to go private accommodation this time. I did have a bit of trouble kind of when I first tried to start finding a flat, just because obviously I didn't really know how the system in Scotland works. how it is very much kind of first come, first served. You have to be very organised when trying to find a flat. But I think the more you look into it, the kind of easier it is, and you can get some supports. I don't know how kind of, Victor, if you've had the same thing as well about private accommodation, but there is support at the university, to help if you do have some issues with that.
Yeah, Victor, do you want to tell us a bit about how you found getting accommodation with us?
Yeah, sure. So, and I absolutely agree with what Ruby brought up, that you aim to be very organized and aim to do everything very much in advance, and with as much allow yourself as much time as you can to just do anything accommodation related, because that makes a huge difference. Both if you're applying for accommodation within the university and if you're applying for private accommodation, because I kind of had both experiences. So in my first year here, I stayed in Lister House, which is a building of the university that's dedicated to postgrad students. And the fact that I applied for my master's degree super early actually helped me with that, because on the day the applications for university accommodations open, I placed my application, so that allowed me to get it with no bigger bothers. And also last year, when the contract with Lister House was about to expire, then I already started to think about flat hunting like three months in advance, and that really helped me secure a nice place. So yes, just aim to be as organized as possible, because that is really, really helpful.
Yeah, I think that's a very good mantra to have across the application process for anything at the university. Just make sure that you're applying for everything as early as you possibly can, both your subjects and accommodation. I just wanted to highlight that you can apply for university accommodation with either a conditional or an unconditional offer. So once you get an offer from us, be it conditional or unconditional, you can get an application sent in for accommodation. Applications aren't quite open yet for university accommodation in this coming cycle, but they should be open very, very soon, I think in the next few weeks. But you can go onto our accommodation website and fill in a form that will throw over as soon as they open. It'll alert you and you can get your application in. And it's worth noting that the deadline to get your university accommodation application form to us is the end of July. But honestly, just get it in as early as you possibly can, and it should make the whole process just that little bit more stress-free. But yeah, so it's good to hear that Ruby and Victor found getting their accommodation relatively pain-free. Has it been easy enough to make friends in and around Glasgow while you've been here? I mean, Victor, you've been here for a little while now. How was it when you first arrived in terms of making those social structures when you got here?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because I mean, it's obviously intimidating, like moving to an entirely different country, an entirely different culture. Like, even if somebody at the place is super friendly, as is the case here in Glasgow, it is nevertheless an intimidating experience at first. So I would tell people, just relax, take your time, and try to search for the stuff that you like doing, because eventually that will lead you to slowly building a social network that actually works for you. So that's what's been happening for me. So initially, my initial point of contact were my classmates at my top masters. So from that, I actually joined a band with one of my classmates, and that band has been going ever since. And so now I can say that all of my bandmates are very good friends of mine. And because of them, I have gotten to know more people and more people involved with music. And I've also been slowly engaging in other types of activities that interest me. So for example, last year I took some acting classes, and from that I also made some very good friends. And so just take your time and do stuff that you like, and eventually you will be able to build a group of people around yourself that that interests you. And I think that's the best advice I can give. But definitely, I think Glasgow and the University of Glasgow are very good environments for that in general.
Great. And Ruby, has it been a similar story for yourself? Have you got involved have you joined a band?
No, I wish. That's incredibly cool. I wish I'd joined the band. No, but I completely agree with Victor. As he said, Glasgow is like an incredibly friendly place. So off the bat, it's not something that's kind of, I don't think you'll struggle with. As Victor said, if you kind of get involved with your classes, the main thing that I could really kind of especially recommend is to join societies, because I think that's a really, really good place to make friends, especially where you'll get a chance to meet people with similar interests from you. And I think from that, you'll kind of meet people that are really kind of similar to you, and stuff that you like. And societies, I think, is a really good place to start. And from there, it's kind of a chain reaction, isn't it? You meet this person who introduces you to more, and so on. And then next thing you know, you do kind of have like as Victor said, a nice base of friends.
Yeah, no, great. The links for our student societies are running along the bottom of the screen, but so we've got 250, I think, different student societies, and they range from the music ones, like the ones that Victor's been involved in. We've got academic ones, we've got charitable ones. I think we've got Harry Potter somewhere in the ether as well. But also we've got our sports clubs as well. So we've got sports clubs from football and rugby through to things like korfball, and I think we've got windsurfing as well. So there's a huge range, and as Ruby says and Victor says, you can jump into more or less any activity at the university. I'm going to segue from extracurriculars though, and I'm going to ask Ruby, what does your average week look like in terms of classes? So in terms of the academics, has it been what you expected? Have you spent much time out and about? Do you spend a lot of time in the library? What does it look like for yourself?
Yeah, so because I'm doing a master's by research degree, I don't have any classes at all. I spend all of my time kind of in the lab, or usually I like to go and hang out on campus somewhere and kind of work on my thesis. But obviously, because I don't have any classes at all, it is very much a lot of working independently and being able to kind of organize and motivate myself in that sense. But I've really, really enjoyed kind of the master's by research, because even though it's very independent, you're doing a lot of it by yourself, in research you tend to have these kind of research groups where you're working alongside a bunch of other people who are doing kind of very similar lab work to you, kind of very similar fields. And then in that sense, you do have that kind of support network where if you are struggling with something, you have all these people you can talk to. So I've really, my kind of average week is quite a nice balance between working independently with my laptop in a lovely, one of the nice campus cafes, or talking to people in my lab group and, collaborating with them. But I love the research. It's a fantastic balance between the two. I don't really miss kind of lectures and classes that much. I know a lot of my friends kind of struggle to get to their 9 a.m.s, but I really enjoy working in the lab because it's quite flexible in that sense as well.
No, great. I'm just going to jump to Victor with a very similar question, but could you tell us a bit about what it was like with your taught degree, Victor, and what your week looked like, I guess?
Yeah, sure. So when I was doing my top degree, I used to have way more lectures and tutorials than I do now. Right now, I'm also doing a master's by research, but I still have some classes that I have to attend. But right now, my life is just way more focused on my research, just as Ruby's. But when I was doing my top masters, I usually had 2 to 3 full days of classes over the week, and then on the spare days, I obviously had to prepare myself for those classes. So I obviously had a lot of set reading to do. So in a sense, doing a top masters feels like a way more structured experience, in the sense that it's been structured for you. And then when you're a research student, then of course you need some kind of structure. But then you're the one making up your own structure, making up your own schedule. So I think I think that may be the main difference from the perspective of the student's perspective. Yep.
Amazing. So I mean, this actually throws us to the next question pretty well, because it sounds like you're both incredibly busy. I'm going to ask Katrina, though, how feasible is it to work part-time during a master's? And do you have any advice on that, Katrina?
Yeah, I think initially it can look a bit difficult to try and fit that in, because there is going to be so much work involved in doing a master's. But we've got so many different jobs, part-time jobs, internships, and such a range of hours, and some of them are quite flexible in terms of what you work each week. So you can see that the Job Hub website address is underneath, and the Internship Hub one is there too. You can go in and have a little look to get an idea as to what sort of opportunities that we have, but it's really quite mixed. And so I would just keep looking and assume that there might be something at some point that fits in around what you're doing, around your studies, around your time for studying and all of that, and other things that you do too. You can study at a master's level and work and also have extracurricular activities and outside interests at the same time. It is a wee bit of a balancing act, but it's definitely worth doing, and maybe primarily just to have a little bit of extra money, which will be nice. And there are lots of jobs that you can get without any prior experience, and lots of things in the sort of services sectors, in restaurants and bars and retail, customer contact centres and different things like that you can definitely get into without having done that beforehand, and get some really, really good experience as well as some money. Actually, those look really, really good on your CV at the end. So employers in the UK really value work experience of all types, and it doesn't have to be related to what you want to do afterwards. So working with the public is, a good way to develop lots of skills, to develop your customer service skills, your interpersonal skills, communication, working under pressure, teamwork, lots of other stuff. So they are really, really good experience that will really help you to, make a good CV with your studies, but also with other experiences that will develop skills and demonstrate personal qualities as well. So yeah, just keep looking. I would also say it's worth considering volunteer opportunities as well. If you can fit in some time for things where you're not actually being paid to do it, but that can be really good work experience too for some areas of work. And the internships that we run, a lot of them are for summer, and that obviously gets difficult to do if you're doing a master's that goes on throughout summer. But some of them will be term time and part-time, and just so many hours over a period of time. We do have some on campus as well. So look at both internships and part-time jobs. And you can get jobs and internships in very specific areas, particular sectors that maybe you want to work in. And that can be about building up specific skills and developing particular skills. So it doesn't all have to be broad, general work, the type of thing that a lot of people do, like working in customer service. And there are more specific things that may give you maybe perhaps just a little bit more experience in an area than some other students. So have a look out for that. We'd run a lot of our master classes on relevant topics. So we'd actually do one on part-time job search. We do one on looking for internships, and on how to produce a good CV, a cover letter, application form, interviews, all of that sort of stuff. So we'll also support you in applying for these things too.
Fab. You've got everything covered in terms of the jobs, I think. And I'm gonna move. Victor, Ruby, have either of you worked part-time while you've been studying at all?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Did you find it easy enough to get a job?
Yes, yeah, the student job hub is really, really helpful, to be fair, because as Katrina said, there's kind of so many different filters you can apply, kind of look term time, part-time, and it is useful to kind of type of ones like that.
Fab. Victor, am I right in saying that you received a scholarship to study with us at Glasgow?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about the scholarship process and how easy it was, I suppose, to look at that funding?
Sure. So, so towards the end of my top masters, I had decided that I wanted to pursue an academic career. So the next logical step would be to pursue a PhD. But by then, the window for applying to PhD had already closed. And so the university announced in around May last year this this research scholarship for an MRAS called Creativity, Inclusivity, and the Virtual, which was very similar. Like the application process was very similar to what it would be for you to apply for a PhD scholarship. So essentially, I had to submit a research project. So I had to come up with a topic, and I had to submit my academic CV in a sense. And because I really wanted that, I saw that as like a very good opportunity for me to kind of build a bridge for myself into a potential PhD in the future. I just embraced that with all that I had. So I pretty much spent a whole month just thinking about this application and just editing every single line of the application. And well, it worked out in the end. So I got it. I got the scholarship. And right now I am going through pretty much the same process, because right now I am applying for a PhD scholarship, which just feels like a powered up version of the same application that I did last year. So yeah, it is it is obviously a very stressful process, because there is so much at stake. But at the same time, it feels that it's a process that allows you time to pour your best into it. So yeah, I think that the same thing that we said about accommodation applies. So just if you want to do something like this, if you want a scholarship, if you want to pursue an academic career, if you want a PhD scholarship or something like that, just aim to be as organized as you can. Aim to try to understand the scenario as in advance as you can, and try to start planning out your steps as early as you can, and just take your time to read as much as you can, and to write it really carefully, and because it just tends to pay off.
Great. Well, congratulations on your scholarship. And it sounds like we are coming round to there's the same themes coming through today, which is just do things early and be prepared and be organized when you're coming to organize yourself to join us. When it comes to master's scholarships, I thought it would be worth highlighting that hopefully we've taken some of the pressure off that process a little bit, and most don't actually have an additional application. So for a number of our master's scholarships at the university, you can be assessed for them at the point that you apply. There are some that do hold a small application, so it's worth just having a look online. We've got a scholarship database. It's super easy to find on our website. Just type scholarships into the search bar at the top, and it can pull up the scholarships that are available on the programs that you're applying to. And it'll depend on where you're coming from and the kind of level that you're wanting to study at as well. But yeah, it's just worth noting that we have a scholarships database, and you can have a look online at the processes and the scholarships available for the programs that you're looking to study with us at the university. Looking a bit more at the campus in general, is it what you expected, Ruby and Victor? Does it, many people on the call or watching today will have seen pictures of our beautiful campus. Some people say it's Hogwartsy. That's the cloisters, the quads. Has it met the expectations that you were expecting? Do you have favourite spots on campus or in Glasgow in general, I suppose? So, Ruby, do you want to tell us a bit about campus?
Yeah, so I definitely have two favourite spots on campus. My first one is the Gilchrist Cafe, which is kind of just next to the old looking Hogwartsy cloisters. I loved in there just because I kind of love the student cafe culture of everyone going in, sat on their laptops doing work. I do like to go in there. I find myself being kind of more productive, surrounded by the hustle and bustle. Secondly, I really love actually one of the kind of more modern and new buildings, which is the ARC building, just kind of the other side of campus, which I kind of want to gatekeep it because I really like it, because I don't think everyone has kind of discovered it yet. It's really not that busy in comparison to the study hub, which is also a fantastic building, but always just very busy. But the ARC building is very beautiful, all very kind of supersized. You go in, it makes me feel very small, but I do like it. And there's a kind of bakery in there as well. which I think is opening soon, which is very exciting. So that's kind of my go-to spot at the minute for studying as well. So one of my favourite spots on campus.
Fab. It's worth noting. I was talking about the ancient buildings, but we have literally just opened some brand new redeveloped spaces on campus, which are amazing. To be honest, we've got the really ancient buildings right next to these brand new spaces that are opening up, and there's more and more going to be opening up over the next little while as well. Victor, do you have any favourite places on campus that you would want to be recommending our new students?
So first of all, I just wanted to say that I absolutely agree with Ruby's reflections on the art building, because it just feels so special, because it feels like not a lot of people have discovered it yet. So it's usually super quiet, and it's just a nice place to be, and that's not super busy. But after almost 2 years in this university, I feel like my favorite spot remains the library. I just started using the library my very first months here. I started specifically using the 4th floor because that's where all of the music books are, and I just created some kind of connection with that place, and that's just my go-to place where whatever I need to do some study or some research work. But recently I've been to Glasgow campus, which is not far from where I'm currently staying, and I just thought that place is lovely. So right now I'm just aiming to create a habit of just going there more often, just to study or to take a walk, just because it's so green and so peaceful.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it's what our main campus is Gilmore Hill, which I think we're both, well, all 4 of us are based, to be honest. And Glasgow, where Victor's mentioning, that's where our vet school and some of our sports fields are, and it's about half an hour from the main campus, I would say, to get out to Glasgow. It's also worth noting that we have another campus, and we've got Dumfries, which is about 2 hours south of Glasgow, and we host a number of our master's programs on the Dumfries campus. There's great transport links, and the chances are that watching this today are a few students who have applied and are looking to go to Dumfries. And it is a really cool, tight-knit area, and it's not a million miles from Glasgow at all. But if you are interested in Dumfries and the more rural campus that we have, you can take a look yet again on our website and find out more about the events and the online or in-person events that are happening in Dumfries over the next little while as well. Jumping back to Glasgow though, I'll start with Victor this time. Has it been what you expected when you first arrived, and is it student friendly? I hope I know the answer to this, but I'll let you respond.
Oh yes, absolutely. It's more than what I expected, and it's very, very student friendly. Because my previous experiences in Brazil were with very small institutions, and just being at a place that's so that at a university that's so big, at a city that has actually so many universities. It's just a place that you feel welcome as a student, and you feel like it's the right place to be if you want to do something like that. So yes, it's just a very, very welcoming place, and it just makes me feel comfortable, being here.
Great. And Ruby, similar question to yourself. Have you had much chance to explore Glasgow? I know Victor's got about a year on you being here, but have you had much of a chance to explore, and has it got the feel you expected when you were looking at universities?
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. Sometimes I like to just kind of set aside days on the weekend to just go into Glasgow and just walk somewhere I've kind of never been before. Do you know what I mean? I think something quite nice about Glasgow is it has its own little kind of pockets of places. I know a lot of people that stay in the West End that say they kind of forget that they're in Glasgow and that the West End isn't just its own place. So you could really I love going on really long walks and finding all new places in Glasgow. And I think one of the things that makes it so student friendly, in kind of my opinion, is just how many kind of green spaces there are to hang out. That's something I especially like over summer. You go to any park in Glasgow and there's always kind of loads of students having picnics or just kind of studying in the parks and things like that. And I think that's something that I really like, that Glasgow just kind of has so much have so much range, and you've got the parks, but you've got the nightlife, and it's also really kind of safe and welcoming. And I think those are the three main things that make it like a really kind of friendly and studenty place to be.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought it up, because it's one of the things that I think gets forgotten about Glasgow often, is just how green it is. I think on the last count, I don't know who was counted, but there's 90 different parks and public spaces spread across central Glasgow, and we've got Kelvin Grove Park right on the edge of our main campus here in Glasgow as well. So it's super easy to be in the kind of urban hub that is Glasgow, but to get out into the green spaces as well. So actually, sticking with the questions about Glasgow, Victor, I'll come to you. But how expensive has it been to live in Glasgow? Has it been what you expected in terms of the cost of living?
Yes, I would say so. I mean, obviously, it is somewhat expensive because I guess that expensive or not expensive is a matter of perspective. But what I think is that the cost of living in Glasgow seems to be fair for how much you're able to make here. So right now, I live here with my partner, and she's working full time, and I'm getting my scholarship. And well, with that combined, we both can live a pretty decent life in Glasgow. Whereas in other places, I feel like even with both our incomes, we would be kind of struggling to do that. So yes, I would say, especially compared with our previous experience living in such a huge city, which was São Paulo in Brazil. It's a city with tens of millions of inhabitants. I feel like what we make in Glasgow allows us to live quite comfortably. So yeah.
Fab. And is that a similar story for yourself, maybe moving from down south up to Scotland and up to Glasgow?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that like any city, there are kind of expensive bits and places, but I think something about how Glasgow has so many kind of really different areas, that you do have studenty areas where you can go, and if you want a budget, places that really suit. And also kind of on the social end of things, there are a lot of free fun things to do in Glasgow. Do you know what I mean? It's not, if you're on a budget, there isn't much to do. It's kind of, it's achievable living on a budget and also having fun kind of apart from uni sort of thing.
Now, this is a big question, and I'm going to come to our resident Brazilian for this one. But what is the weather really like in Glasgow, Victor? This is the big question that we get asked by, students from the UK and internationally as well. But I'm going to come to you so that we can hear it from someone who I think is used to somewhere just slightly warmer than Glasgow.
Yeah, I'll have to say that it is cold. I mean, it's not extremely cold, but it's enough to be to not make us super comfortable all the time. But I would say that like the cold. One thing that I actually have in my mind, and it's something that I talk about with my partner and with our Brazilian friends all the time, is that of course it rains a lot here in Glasgow. I mean, that's just true. But compared with the rain from, say, in Brazil, it feels like the rain here is not as wet. Like you just get used to it. Like if it's raining, you just go outside, you just put your coat on, and you just go for it, and you just go and live your life. Whereas if we were in Brazil, rain would be perhaps rarer, but also stronger. So it really it keeps you from doing outdoor stuff. Whereas I feel like here in Scotland and in Glasgow, you just learn to live with the rain and with the slightly colder temperature. But yeah, of course it gets cold, it gets rainy, but I don't think that that's something that gets in the way of you doing your things. The thing that really got to me in terms, it was how dark it gets during the winter, because I was not used to that. Because say in Brazil, even during the winter it gets dark at 6, and during the summer it gets dark at 7. So it's not such a huge difference. Whereas here, in the winter it gets dark at 3:30, half 3, and then in the summer it gets dark at 10. So yeah, so it just becomes a cultural thing for you during the winter to just start counting your days, like how many days will it take for summer to arrive. So yeah, but yeah, that's it. But we just have to say that summer here is pretty great.
Yeah, no, amazing. I was going to say, what essentials would you tell people to pack? It sounds like an umbrella, a jacket. I don't know if there's anything else that you would absolutely tell people to bring.
Yeah, one thing that I've learned is that like umbrellas tend to not work as much here. So you just learn to wear a coat and go for it. So yeah, after a while you just give up using umbrellas.
Yeah, Ruby, very quickly, did you notice any difference with the weather? Is it what you were expecting?
I did. I did notice, but kind of an inside joke. We say all our friends that the cold in Glasgow is a bit different to the one down south. They kind of say it gets in your bones. But I think that sounds very dramatic. It is a bit cold, but as Victor said, you absolutely get used to it. And the main thing is, I would absolutely agree, umbrellas are pointless if you've got kind of horizontal rain. So just have a good raincoat and you'll be absolutely fine.
Very fair, very fair. Okay, well, to be honest, we are getting very close to the end of the session today. And I've really only got one last question for both of our students, Ruby and Victor. And it's what's been the best part of coming to the University of Glasgow? What's the best part, and any advice you would give students who are applying? We've said over and over, apply early, be organised, but is there any other advice, and what has been the best part of what's the best bit about being at UofG? And we'll come to Victor first.
Okay, so I think the compliment for the be organized part, especially if we're thinking about the application stuff that I was talking about earlier, if you're applying for a research program or something like that, is like learn to be open-minded, because that really that really determines your success. If you're trying to get into research, for example, like of course you need to be very organized and be very strict about your methods and everything, but you also need to be open-minded and creative in order to get the good ideas that will actually make your research matter, or aiming for a sweet spot between those two things, I guess would be the best advice I can give. And I think that the best thing about being the student here at Glasgow is this is kind of generic, but I just feel like the university and the city they feel like they're very good hubs for anything that I want to do with my life. So for instance, when I was in Brazil, I kind of struggled, doing, because I have so many different interests. So I like to do research, and I like teaching, and I like writing, and I like, of course, making music. And I kind of struggled, putting all of those things together in my life. And I feel that ever since I got to Glasgow, I feel like everything has been working in favor of everything else. So I'm of course here doing my research, which is very very pleasant for myself. But I also get to play with my bands on the weekends. So and that's something that I didn't used to do in Brazil, even though I was always involved with music. So yeah, I just feel like everything seems to be working in favor of everything else. So that's it.
Amazing. Well, Ruby, I'll come to you. Same questions. What has been the best bit, and if you've got any advice at all, then let us know.
Yeah, so I would probably say that the best thing about being a student here is literally, again, as Victor said, quite generic, but just how welcoming it is. I mean, Glasgow is such a nice place to be. They say kind of the phrase "people make Glasgow," and that really is true. And I think that the university kind of follows that way of life as well. And yeah, it's just a really kind of welcoming, nice environment, the university. And as for advice, I think I would say, again, very cringy and generic, say whilst you're doing your degree, try and say yes to as many opportunities that arise like to you, and kind of don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone in that sense, because I have found doing my master's, a lot of really cool opportunities have come to me, and a lot of really interesting things that I never thought I'd be able to do. So just, yeah, trying to kind of feel the fear and do it anyway, sort of thing, because it's, yeah, you can do a lot of very cool stuff while you're here.
Amazing. Well, that really does bring us to the end of today's session. It really just leaves me to say a big thank you to our panel. So thanks to Victor, to Ruby and to Katrina. And a huge thank you to all of you for joining us wherever you are in the world. And we hope that you have found it useful. We've been working through your questions in the chat as best we can, and we'll keep this session live for the next few minutes as well, so that we can finish answering the last questions that we have. But yeah, we really do look forward to welcoming you to Glasgow and to Scotland. And yeah, take a look at our website. That is the best place to go. And yet again, I'll just reiterate, because we've said it so many times today, be prepared and be organised, and get everything done as early as you possibly can. That's the best advice that we've taken from today as well. But yeah, thank you very much, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.